On this episode of On the Record, we're going into the pizza business. As many businesses were closed throughout the pandemic, an opportunity for fresh entrepreneurs flourished through added time, increased unemployment, and stimulus checks. So what do you get when four bros walk into a pizza place?
Christmas of 2019, we had plans to make some pizza at home for the family. We had been doing it for a couple of years already, close to 3 years for both of us, me and Will.
In pizzerias and restaurants.
Yeah. Will had bought our first oven that we ever used.
I think it was one of those little uni ovens. I saw that on Instagram.
A single pie at a
crazy,
time.
Yep.
12. The max you could do is 14 inches, I believe, in that.
How long does it take for that thing to get up to temperature? Because it's not a big oven to begin with.
About 20, 25 minutes.
Not as long as you would think.
Yeah.
It's because it's so condensed, so small that the wood fire just ignites it real quick to gets the stones hot.
But you got to give it at least 20, 25 minutes because the stones have to get hot. The top will cook faster than the bottom ever will if you don't give it the right time to heat up.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. So, you want to talk about ovens? Explain this oven to me.
The uni oven?
Yeah, it's
okay. So
you keep saying it by name like it's this. Okay.
It's
this thing.
All right. So the uni oven is like it's a small. It's maybe 2 feet long, and it's like a few inches high in the oven. It has 4 small stones that go in there, and you can either do wood fired or you could have a gas connector, and it fits 14-inch pies at the max. And we were doing 10 to 12-inch pies, Neapolitan style wood fired pizza when we first started. I bought the oven just because I wanted to start making pizza at home whenever the hell we wanted to, because we all worked in pizzerias, and we just. Like sometimes when holidays come around, we have family there. He had a KitchenAid mixer. We knew how to make dough. The sauce that we had was just a simple just get a can of what we want and we make it. So it was the wood-fired oven that I was tired of experimenting with the freaking grill or at the at-home ovens. It was just like it wasn't the texture that we wanted, and so I just went out and bought it, and that was it. I mean, that's the best way I could describe it. It has like a tall stack for smoke. The smoke coming out of there, a back accessible door, but
And you bought this though, like a while back before you even had a shop. So you pretty much bought this thing for home use, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly
but
what it was.
But then you just explained to me that it's got a thing in the back for the smokestack. Where are you cooking these pizzas?
No, it was all right. So towards the front of the oven, there's a like a 1.5 foot stack that's just a pipe that goes out and lets smoke out. So it's not like it's a huge thing. It's just to get the smoke not hitting your face when it's coming out of the oven.
Okay. But fire alarms have to be disconnected, probably.
You gotta do it
We were on my
inside.
balcony.
Yeah, we were on the balcony, right?
Gotcha.
Which is probably not all that safe still.
Nah, it's fine.
It was. I mean, it's really not any more dangerous than your average
than a
grill,
grill.
you know,
Right.
on the balcony.
So you didn't just come blindly into this. You just said that you all worked doing pizza at some point.
So you were all working in different pizza restaurants in New Rochelle or in the area?
Yeah, correct. Like, so I had me and Carlos started off in the pizzeria, the Big Slice. Okay, and I started off delivering, and then I moved up to making pizza because the owner had just gotten rid of his pizza guy. He was working 7 days a week, and I said, teach me how to make pizza so you can have a day off, and he did. Then we needed a delivery guy at that point, so I asked Carlos, and then eventually Danny came in as the same thing. And then
Danny, you like making money? I got an excellent opportunity for you. We need somebody on board here.
Yeah, I mean, we just brought the whole. And then eventually, Bryan, our youngest brother, even started working there.
They just made it Big Slice into the Four Bros.
I mean, I don't want to go that way, but we all worked there at one point, and then we went our separate ways. Like I left and went to another pizzeria strictly because I wanted to get more experience and see different things about pizza, and also work in higher volume. The Big Slice was just starting out and wasn't doing high volume yet, and I went to different places, and then I ended up in the city for a few years.
Where were you in the city?
So I started off at the Woodstock. It's no longer in existence, but it was when it was rocking. Oh my God, it was beautiful. It was a Woodstock theme, and they served Neapolitan style with just cocktails. That was their whole thing. So I I started there as just a pizza guy, and the executive head chef is Nino Caniglio. He's a 10-time world pizza champion. The guy is just a genius when it comes to pizza, and he just knows a lot of science behind it all. So I stayed really close to him, and I learned everything as much as I could from him. And then I became the sous chef there, so I was running the place, and he was just like out doing whatever he wanted.
Winning championships and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And then I brought Carlos in part-time because it was an opening, so he said, yeah, let's go. So he ended up learning a lot about that too. Danny actually worked there too, but he was more on the floor. He wasn't behind in the kitchen yet. Yeah, so that's where I went, and then I had some other pizza spots part-time, and then also after that. So there was a lot of experience in different pizzerias, different kinds of pizza, a lot of science behind pizza. If you guys don't know that already, there's a lot of little variables that go into just the dough itself.
For sure.
Which me and Carlos have done a lot of work with. Like, I can't even say we mastered it yet. Like, I can't, but we've mastered.
Think it's something that can be mastered necessarily.
Right. I think we've done a really good job at getting down our recipe, and that's it. Like, we could definitely experiment and go into other things, but honestly, we just don't have the time. And like the product that we put out right now is,
We're focused on this right now.
Yeah, we're kind of.
We would like to get back to Neapolitan style, though.
Yeah, definitely. If we can start like whether it's a food truck or just like a shack with a window that just has a wood-fired oven somehow. But
so if you say you want to get back to Neapolitan style, how would you describe this style right now?
So this is what we call we named it Neo New York style pizza because Neo means new in Italian. And it's a cross. So we say that because it's a cross between Neapolitan style and New York style. Our process through making the dough, our freshness of the tomatoes that we use. Believe it or not, we don't put a whole lot of ingredients in our sauce. We kind of use a quality tomato and let it speak for itself. You can't butcher it. You got to do it the right way. It's not just as simple as just open the can and throw it on, but. We use grande cheese. It's top of the line. You can't really get better than grande cheese out there. So, and it's the dough process, the fermentation, which is something that most New York style spots don't do. They do proofing, obviously, but fermentation is something that we take seriously for a number of reasons, and that's why we call it a cross between New York and Neapolitan style. So that's our style that we're bringing to New Rochelle and Westchester, which isn't really done out here. Sometimes in the city, you would say you would be able to see it, but not out here. But yeah, that's just my experience. A little bit of my experience that I've had in pizzerias and around pizza in general and food. I also ran a few other kitchens in the city that didn't have to do with pizza. It was just cooking. So a lot of that helped with this. These guys have their own stories too. So.
I'm still just blown away that you can't even put people that are in the same family in a room on Thanksgiving together, and you guys are just like, we're gonna start a business together and see each other about 89 hours a week at least.
I mean, don't.
This isn't easy, man.
It has its ups and downs. Thank God more ups, but
Danny's got positive energy.
Yeah,
right now. I mean, I don't know where it's coming from.
It's all a learning process
to
work together. I mean, we've all worked together in the past. It's nothing like owning your own place and working together and seeing, like you said, seeing each other 80 to 100 hours a week and being in the same kitchen when it's hot and everything like that. And we all have different opinions on how we want to do things. And
is it a democracy as far as how things are decided?
Not
three.
Yes and no. It's Will is the head executive chef. We all came into Four Bros knowing that. It's more of he'll ask or we'll discuss it, and when it comes down to it, if there has to be a final say, he'll be the one to end up making the final decision. But
and that does often make things easier also though. Because there needs to just be a final say to just
I was going to
mix
say
on it.
democracy wouldn't work with this.
Nah, because then So the whole way I explained it to them at first was basically what's gonna happen is if we all take a vote on everything, and three of us or two of us go with this, three of us go with this, and you're not going in one clear-cut direction. You're going in a circle, essentially. And although some of these ideas might be great, it might not go with the kind of direction or the brand that we're already going to be or are or whatever the case is. And so it's like, it's even like, I mean, I don't want to say that I made a wrong decision yet. I mean, obviously we've made mistakes and we've learned from it, but even if I make a bad decision and and their choice was better, the reason it's okay to go in that direction is because, is because you're going in one direction as opposed to, going off to the right for a second and then coming back, and then because you have to go into one direction to try to get to your goal, and you're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna see things that don't sell, that don't react well with customers, or that don't really take off on social media, things like that. But it's nothing has been like, what can I say? I don't know. Nothing's really killed us with those kind of decisions. So it's been working out really well. Like it is rough to work with family. It really is. Like there's a lot of ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we've learned how to work with each other in a way where it's like, okay, like this is it. This is what it's gonna be. Let's just squash it, and then we move on. So we don't really hang on too much to anything that bad happening.
I think what's important in any of those dynamics is being able to identify who has what strength, and then just playing to that person's strength.
Absolutely.
It makes it easier to, instead of having to like everybody have to decide about everything, you just say, all right, you got this down. This is going to be your section. I'm going to handle this section. I'm going to handle this section, and play to those strengths, and then it kind of makes it easier to.
That's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did when we first, even when we were doing it out of the house. Like Danny was more of somebody that was in pizzerias or restaurants as a prep cook, and he learned how to slice up chicken and in the right way, tenderize it the right way. Different things with
Flour mixtures.
Or ricotta cheese, like
all
he
of our
seasons it.
Most of our saute stuff is coming from Danny's mind. Our chicken, our famous chicken, and our eggplant recipes are all Danny.
Yeah.
People are in love with that stuff right now, and
I've had the fried chicken sliders. They're good.
yeah. And then for me, I run basically the dough game here, and I'm mainly pizza.
Yeah, he's a head pizzaiolo, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we do. We play to our strengths here. We do what we know how to do best. Will got the most experience in executive part of the business through Woodstock. So that's naturally why he took the lead spot in this team. But that was.
I mean, if you want me to be a little honest with you, with working with each other, I can tell you right now, for like the first hour when we come in, there is not a word said. Yeah. We will come in and you won't even know anybody's here unless you hear the clinking of like of the dough tins or the knives, things like that. We don't even necessarily say hi to each other. We come in. It's just because we've been around each other for our whole life, and we just never come in and say hi, like, hey, what's up? No,
none of us are morning people.
No, that's nothing. None of us
That's
are
not
really
true.
more.
I could act the same way in the morning, but it's just when we know, like he said, like we're around each other all the time. We kind of come in, we get our stuff done. The only time I might say something is if I feel like Danny should do this before he does this, or something like that. Like I that's really it. Like we pretty much stay out of our way at the beginning of the day, because prep is the heavy. Like the beginning of the day is heavy with prep, and then later on it's like, okay, let's start making food, and it's just that's easier to communicate with. Prep is just get to work right away.
Would you say that you focus on efficiency?
Yes, hell yes. Efficiency is definitely something that me myself 100%, and I think these guys too. Efficiency is key, because it's like I hate doing double work, right? Like I can't even think of an example right now, but it's like, slice something first, put it in the bucket, season it, then fry it. Don't don't try to season it, then slice it, then you know what I mean. Like it's all. I mean, that's kind of like
You gotta find
Chef
the best
101,
flow
but-
for things, the quickest way to do things, the most efficient way to do things.
Yeah. The thing is, we don't make our lives easy with the menu that we have. Even though our menu is smaller than most pizzerias,
Now,
it's like
let me interject before you go further into
Yeah,
the
go ahead,
menu.
go ahead.
The first thing I did when I sat down here is I looked at this wall that's behind us, and it's filled with a handful of different items all over.
yeah.
And just looking at it, at first I thought you were offering wine on the red and white section, and then I started reading through it, and I said, "Holy shit, those are all pizzas."
Yeah.
But this thing, what's up there? There's like 45, 50 different items on this thing.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
But like a year ago, you were pushing things right at the cottage
yeah,
kitchen.
I
You know
know.
what I mean? Like this
That
is
was such a simpler time.
This is a huge jump. When you
Yeah.
when you want to talk about hammering some things out and doing quality control and making sure that the food's getting out fast enough, you're dealing with a handful of orders here, and you're scaling from what you were doing in a small environment to now doing it here.
Yeah.
There's a lot to tackle on this thing. Like.
I'll tell you right now, I don't want that many things on my menu. We run at 35 menu items, and that's it.
Really?
oh wow, that's great.
That's about right here.
They run it at 35 menu items now. When we
That's
started,
true.
like our menu was 3 pages long at one point. You know.
So what are the hardships in being able to put all of these items out like fast enough when you're going through prime time business? And is a lot of this prepped already, kind of to some extent, where you
absolutely.
can
There's-
make sure you push it out?
At least 80% of it is prepped beforehand, but like
Yeah.
our chicken is not. So our chicken is not a typical Italian chicken cutlet. Ours is more of a crispy chicken cutlet. So what we do is, it's so most places will bread, like they'll what am I saying? They'll season the chicken, they'll put it in flour, they'll egg yolk it, then they'll bread it, and then they'll just have it like laying on trays or whatever. So that all they gotta do is pick it up and throw it in the fryer. We have our seasoning. We have it in seasoning. Then we have to flour ours and then put it in the fryer to order, And when we get into a rush, we might fry off like a lot of chicken, and then it's gone in 10 minutes.
Knowing that
Yeah.
it's on the way.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So it's gone in 10 minutes. So it's always fresh, and that's the thing. Our quality is up there. Our standards are up there. Like there's like broccoli rabe. It's delicious and it's great. People enjoy it, but they don't have any idea the work behind it. Like you have to cut off a little piece of the stem. You got to boil it. Then you got to throw it in. Well, yeah. Then you drain it. Then you throw it in an ice bath. Then you drain it again. Then you chop it into pieces. Then you season it. Then you mix it. Then you have to put it away. Like that's just one item. You know what I mean? So,
But see, that's why you gotta do things while you're doing other things. You could do
multitasking
you could do
is huge.
5 different prep jobs at once. It's just you start off with the broccoli rabe while you're waiting for the process to go, like for it to drain and things like that. You have to wait for all the water. You're waiting for that. You're not gonna just sit there and just wait for it. No, you're gonna move on to something else. Do 3 things in a time that the broccoli rabe is sitting there. Once it's done, then you go back to the broccoli rabe, get that done, and then you move on. It's we try to make the most out of our time, always with everything we do. And for a lot of these stuff that are on the menu, well, first of all, this menu didn't just come to be out of nowhere, out of thin air. When we were doing this for 5-6 months in the private location, we've all had things in our head that we just wanted to put on the table, put out while we were in a private location. But the smarter, it wasn't exactly smart for us to do it then, because one, we didn't have a commercial kitchen. We didn't have the space. We didn't have the oven really to do it. We didn't have any of the tools to really get any of the stuff that we really truly want to get on the menu.
we were already limited. So to add all that stuff, it would have been crazy.
But we all had it in the back of our mind what we wanted to add for the most part to the menu, and then once we got the opportunity to open the shop, that's when we kind of went nuts, and we were like, we just put a bunch of things on the table. Will's the one that ultimately put together the menu with what was going to be the final draft and what we wanted and everything like that. Carlos is the one that actually made our paper menus, our physical menus.
Yeah, he designed it and everything with the pictures. I mean, with everything that's on the menu. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it's
Graphic
freaking beautiful.
designer,
Yeah.
dough extraordinaire. You know, having multiple abilities like this is something that is extremely hard to find. And
I didn't have any help with any designer making our menu.
That sucks, man. I'm so sorry.
That's why we have
I'm
four
sure.
bros.
I'm
man.
sure. Yeah.
Nobody to help me.
That's why we have 4 bros. We play to our strengths here. It's honestly mind blowing to think about it that our first menu was half of that middle part. We started with 4 pizzas.
Three.
Three, really, yeah.
Margarita, pepperoni, and Bianco. That's all.
That was all
with.
we did. We did that for a few months, and then we added things here and there, like the Nutella pie and marsala pie.
Sandwiches were for specials.
But we went from
Calzones
having
too.
a menu of like 10 items to coming into here, and we did that from January to June. We were private location, just saving up money, and then got into this place. Honestly, just by a miracle. Like this thing fell in our laps, honestly, and we got really, really lucky with this place.
I was, as the pandemic was happening, looking at the stock market and everything all around, you were looking at things like it was kind of like the end of the world coming. Businesses are about to go out of business.
Yeah.
And sure enough, in those next few months, as I would open up Instagram and keep looking at what's happening between, friends that I have on my feed, I noticed a lot of people opening up their own businesses. And the pandemic really gave a chance for people to be home in an environment where they could actually put their ideas that they've had in their head or on paper into actual real world scenarios.
Right.
So, I mean, it's beautiful to see how many businesses have flourished and opened up as a result of that. And like you just said, you were in the private kitchen, you were stacking up enough money to come in here and get this thing going. How about the equipment that's back here? Were you able to take advantage of some of the restaurant auctions of, somebody else's unfortunate...
Dude, this place was fully loaded.
Yeah,
was already
pretty much
ready to go.
Yeah, like we don't get it twisted. We had to bring in a lot. Like we like after like about the 6 months that we were doing it, we acquired a lot. We just kept buying equipment and buying like just freaking mixing bowls. Like just kept buying stuff, and then
little things here and there.
Yeah.
We have our own little, like, what is it, 20-quart mixer.
Oh yeah,
This
no,
tall.
a little
That's
more
what we
than that.
used when we were in a private location
Yeah.
making. I had to make 4 batches at once for one Sunday, just for one day, because we had to get like 80 doughs, and be able to just pop that out on one Sunday, one pie at a time.
How long do you let your dough ferment for? Because you're talking about you do a
24-hour process.
24 hours?
Yeah.
We started off with 2 KitchenAid mixers. Went from there. Went to the 20
Oh, God.
the 20 what was it, 20 quart mixer.
I think it's like 30 quid, but it don't matter. Yeah, we ended up buying our own small mixer because with the KitchenAid mixers, we were making 10 to 12 batches in each. Whatever it was, 10 to 12 batches total, and that was just taking up all day. So we bought the mixer, and he ended up doing 4 or 5 batches. But every Sunday, you're talking 80 doughs. No, we would do about between 100 and 110.
80 to 100.
Yeah, 100 to
80 to
110
100,
pizzas every week, and
that
that was
process
about
was
our capacity because we opened from, I think it was from 12 or 11 to 8 p.m. or whatever it is, and we did 5-minute increments of every pizza because it took about 5 minutes or so. Because not even, it took about 2 to 3 minutes, but you had to let the oven recoup, otherwise
Right.
it would just
Your next pizza
it would
would
just
take
be
that much
you would
longer.
just be putting out raw pizza. But so yeah, that was about the max that we can do in that time frame, and we were selling out almost every week.
That you mentioned starting at the KitchenAid and then getting a bigger mixing bowl, and similar to a business I've started, we started with just one little machine, and you were getting your yield out of it. And at first, you were like, "Cool, I'm yielding things,"
Yeah.
and you're looking at what it produces. And as time goes on, you scale up again. That's when you got your 24 quart, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar, scaled up to be able to do double the yield, and you're looking at it, you're like, man, now I've got so much more yield coming out of this thing.
Yeah.
And then as you keep on building your business, you look at that and you say, shit, this isn't enough. How do we get more dough? So
Yeah.
At that point, now, are you still using the 24 quart? Or
Yeah, we
went up?
kept
We used that until we got into here.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And
what,
it worked. It actually did. So yeah, even though we did 4 or 5 batches,
Just
it
a lot
did,
more work, though.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
You're
man,
right.
it was-
But
you don't understand. I was going from house to house.
yeah,
I was
that's
prepping
the
certain
other
things
thing.
at my house, prepping
Oh, man.
it, going to my mom's basement to make the dough, going to his house to bring where we would perform it, where we would get it done.
And we had to store it.
we had
I
the
mean-
store. We had a big. What,
Yeah, we started
8-gallon
going
cooler
in a cooler
just
with ice.
on it.
We had
Keeping the dough
multiple
in there.
coolers.
Yeah.
And then we came into this where we have a big old mixer. I do one batch a day, and we have a gigantic walk-in. And it's we went from a small menu to this big menu, and we're pushing out so much more food now. It's mind blowing to
Yeah, the process of prep and preparation for this, the whole operation in general out of the house was a project. Oh my God.
And
like-
to go back to your COVID thing, we started right before it. Well,
Yeah.
it's hearsay. Who,
No, it was. It
whatever.
was.
Who
Oh,
says
yeah.
what when it started really? But like when it really hit New Rochelle was what, like March-ish, right?
Yeah. So that's when I heard about you guys on Instagram selling pies on like
We
Sunday
started
nights.
in January though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, January.
end of December, but that was really for family.
Right, and then we like opened up to more people in January, and
The thing.
because
so
we had a head start, that's why COVID helped us even more.
yeah.
I can definitely speak to the hype because, like I said, I heard about you guys, but I wasn't able to get a pie until like June when he actually opened up the store.
Right.
Yeah. So the thing about
That's cool.
what we were talking
That's
about
cool.
before,
Man. Oh my god.
the uni oven.
That was one of the funnest parts though. Like all through it, hearing people tell us like I heard about you, and like we're just in our house, man. We were
Yeah.
just doing stuff out of our house, but like the word was spreading little by little. Our followers went from 0 to like 1,000 within the first month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like what he was saying, like basically that blew our minds, and we didn't know the power of the Four Bros brand until what happened was when we started, we took pre-orders. It just helped us gauge how much dough to make, how much cheese to make, because we make our fresh mozz, and that's what we did when we were out of the house. We made fresh mozz by hand. There was no other cheese that we used, so we had to gauge what orders were coming in because
much
we just didn't
product
want
to
waste.
make.
You know what I mean? So when pre-orders, 1 week we had like 3 pre-orders, like 3 pizzas, and we were worried. We were like, "What happened? Like, what's going on?" And then we realized, like, once we opened that day, we just got smacked with orders on Instagram, and we were like, "Okay, fine." So, and we sold out that day, and then then it just started happening more and more. There was less pre-orders, and there was just more orders that day, and that's what showed us that the Four Bros brand was already it was just a brand in people's minds that they don't need to pre-order. We're just gonna call them, and we're gonna hit them up at the last minute and get
Four
get a
Bros on
pizza.
Sunday turned into a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it definitely was. Legitimately, how I found out, I was walking my dog. One of my neighbors comes out of his house. He goes, "Yo, you heard about those Four Bros pizza?" And I was like, "Yeah, I heard about it." He's like, "Yo, I just had the pizza last night." From there, I was like, "Yo, when can I get one of these pies?" But it wasn't until you guys started actually delivering out of this spot that I got the Bianco.
It's
for the
us.
first time.
So hashtag Sundays are Four Bros.
Yep.
yeah. Sundays are the number 4 Bros.
How many pizzas do you think go out on like a Friday, Saturday night?
Here?
Oh, that's tough to tell.
Yeah.
So like our menu's so big that it varies. So some Fridays we'll do heavy pizza, some Fridays we'll do heavy saute. It also depends on the special that we run in the weekend.
Yeah.
Our signature special right now is the garlic knot slider.
Yep.
And whenever we bring it back, and the greatest thing about it is that it's just a bun, so we can put whatever we want in the middle, right? And we vary. We do things like based on what we think people will like, and it's just taken off. That so it's pizzas is, I would say on average maybe like
80 to 100.
yeah,
Between the rounds and the squares. I mean, obviously that's pizza, you know, I'm just
the
thinking in my head.
smalls.
And that's just to start, you know, places do 300 pizzas a day, and that's kind of what we want to get up to.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you just said rounds into squares, and I've been staring at the menu, and I looked before, right? And it says like square pies. Mm-hmm. I hear square pies, I'm thinking Sicilian, but that's not what that is.
Well, all right, so
It is, but
all right, so a Sicilian is, yes, it's a square, right? And
It's actually like a rectangle, isn't it?
it is a rectangle, yes.
yes, in the pizza game, it's referred to as a square, even though it's not a square. It is a rectangle. In fact,
But when you
Most
cut
places.
when you cut the
it in
slices up, it's square exactly.
Right.
So it's a square. All right. So Sicilian, I want to say, is a little different than our squares, only because the Sicilian is traditionally a little thicker, and there's a lot more cheese on that than a regular pie. And our New Yorker square is pretty much a Sicilian pizza. Yes. Others are just they're so gourmet that when you look at it, you could call it a Sicilian if you want to say it's
But a square pie is its own category outside
Yes.
of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like normally, like if you start buying or start grabbing our like a different square that we have every week. Like, you know, you'll probably end up saying, okay, this is a square. Like eventually you'll be like, you know what, this is not a Sicilian. But when you get a New Yorker square, okay, yeah, that's a Sicilian. Like it's just a traditional Sicilian. But ours is just I can't. It's hard to explain. The dough process makes it different too. So yeah, I mean, we call it squares just because Sicilians. We don't want to say caramelized Bianco Sicilian. You know what I mean?
Your dough is kind of special, like you just said, because it's not as thick as a Sicilian. It's a little bit thinner, but it's still so light and airy inside, and you got that nice crunch on the outside.
That's the fermentation.
That's the fermentation process and the way that we do our yeast starter culture.
Yes.
So is it like a starter that you've been using over and over again? It's like a really old starter, or
No.
So
It's a daily batch starter.
we used to do that with Neapolitan style. That was very important to the dough process.
What's the starter?
Oh man,
So
yeah.
it's a yeast
The
starter
Neapolitan-
culture.
that's the science.
The Neapolitan was a 48-hour ferment because
wow.
it was 24 hours for the starter, then 24 hours for the actual dough, then game
Then cutting
day.
and rolling for another. and
Talk
that's
about
another
then you
24
need to be
hours.
efficient when you're doing something like that because you fall behind a day if you're not.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, yeah. That's what made it easier for us
And we
to
were
do
working
Neapolitan
full-time
style.
jobs.
Yeah.
We were working full-time jobs. Our only days off were Monday and Wednesday and Sunday, and just prepping constantly.
Get off work and you come home and start proofing dough.
In those days, we were working like close to 120, 140 hours a week.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know what? That's where you find guys to be successful.
That's how you
Because
get
if
to where you are right now, though.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
taking days off, then you really don't want that other business that you're building.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're just comfortable with where
absolutely.
you're at.
Like you have to. Hate
We
your
never
life.
closed. We never closed through it all, through everything. We never stopped.
Yeah.
We were open every Sunday, every Wednesday when we started open on Wednesdays and Sundays.
And we had plenty of excuses to close on one Sunday.
We could have closed up.
We started off on his balcony. His landlord got sick of it, and
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know why it didn't bother anybody, just to smoke. But you know, when there's a person grilling downstairs, he doesn't say anything. Anyway, we had to get out of there. We moved into a secret location that had a commercial kitchen, but the wood-fired oven was causing too much carbon monoxide.
There was more legality problems there.
That guy was saying, you know, you can't use this oven in here if you're going to use it. So I had to go and get another. I borrowed an oven from my friend Nino in Brooklyn and brought it here, hooked it up.
Electric oven.
Oh yeah, it was. And then we had to get that
Same
done.
brand as our oven right now.
There's just so many.
Component.
There was so many obstacles. That's just two obstacles. There was so many obstacles, but we were so relentless. We did not stop because
Nothing stopped.
we just
us,
felt
man.
like the one day that we closed, it'll just ruin the flow of how it was going. You know.
the brand that we were building would just.
Let me ask you this, and as somebody that has had a couple slices of pizza in my lifetime, there's a competing pizza place up the block from where we're sitting right now. They've been around forever. I would always go get the chicken slice from them. And something about their pizza dough is just, it's almost like not pizza dough. It's interesting what it is.
Which spot are you talking about?
Town? Town?
Oh, Town Pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Well, I'm just. What makes that dough like that?
He's not
versus
wrong. Their
what a
dough is
regular
it's very
pizza
different.
is?
It's more like
their
bready, it's dense.
their dough is more dense, right? I mean, there's just more.
It
bread.
just like captures the grease or something,
Yeah.
where it doesn't run off the pie.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I'm not mad at it though. Like for some reason, I like itch my neck and I'll fiend for it every once in a while.
so
It's a
look,
very polarizing
yeah.
pizza in
Oh,
your
have
show.
No, I
a few
get what
drinks
you're
and
saying.
specs. It's right there.
And the
you know.
amount of cheese that they
That
put
pizza
on there.
tastes
So,
amazing
but look,
then.
I could agree with you on a certain level. I used to go to Specs a lot, right? And I
Spectators is a local bar that's next to this pizza place.
exactly. So I used to, you know, it's. I'm not gonna say it's bad pizza. I would never want to say that against
Yeah, I don't
somebody
wanna
in this
badmouth
in this
another
game because this
pizzeria
game is
ever.
hard.
No, we
This-
can't say it's bad. I get off the highway to go get it occasionally.
they've
No,
been
no,
there-
no, no.
they've
What
been
I was
there
gonna
all
say
our lives,
was,
you know?
Yeah.
for me, it's the best drunk pizza ever. Like it
Do
really
you remember
is.
the place that was there before them?
Vaguely.
I don't.
I don't. Someone told me the name of it the other day, and I was like, "What's that?" What
what
Town
was
Pizza's
the
all
name?
I've ever known.
Yeah.
They're like, do you remember the place that was
Walkway.
there before
I
Tom's
know.
Pizza? And they said the name, and I'm like, I didn't know there was something there
Yeah.
before
no,
them.
I don't
So I
remember.
said I had no idea.
They've been there that long, so they're doing something right.
Yeah, so their dough is a lot different than ours. Honestly, their dough is made almost exactly like most New York style spots.
Yeah.
Most New York style spots will just so they'll take a bucket that they always use for water for the dough. They'll fill it up to this level and then they'll put it in. There's no real measurement of what it is. They just eye it all the time, and that's I've tasted the pizza a lot, so 100% that's what it is. And then they, for some reason, they cook it on a screen. I don't know why. That's how you get those ridges on the bottom, and then a little crispier kind of thing. It's a little weird. But anyway, that's the way they do it. So that's cool. And then they definitely don't ferment because you could tell how dense it is. And then they put a lot of cheese. I know that people love cheese. So the amount of cheese that they put on there, people are gonna love it. But that's the big difference between our dough and theirs. I know they don't ferment. They cook it on a screen, and they're definitely. I mean, I'm not
Safe
gonna
to
say
it's probably double the calories.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. That I could say 100%. Yes.
Who's really counting calories though when you're talking about pizza?
I should be paying attention.
It's like the
a
same
little bit.
thing when someone orders like a burger, and I don't need the bun though.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, if it's
You got a
double,
half-pound burger with bacon and mayonnaise and ketchup and fried onions.
And they want, hold the bun. They
And a
want
Diet
all the
Coke.
sauce. They want the sauce under the bun, on top of the patty. It's that just freaks me out sometimes.
so let's talk
Or
about.
we had you remember Rick? Like, do me a favor. He would say, "No bun, but give me an extra patty."
Yeah.
But give me an extra.
I remember his order would be 3 half-pound patties. Each patty gets a different kind of cheese. Each patty also gets
Bryan.
bacon, chili. Then he gets lettuce, tomato on the side, and then he got something else in the tray. But it was massive.
That sounds phenomenal, by the way.
It was amazing.
The fourth brother just walked into the room, lackadaisically. All good.
Have you ever tried our squares? Like just even a slice?
The
Yeah,
caramelized
Nooms-
onion bianco, and
So-
I had the fig and apple the other
What
day.
about you two guys?
I haven't had it at
You
all.
haven't? Okay,
I just
so
keep hearing about it.
Nooms knows that so if you have a square slice, you'll right away understand the difference between our dough and anybody else's on top of town pizzas that you just mentioned. So people, at least in this area, they steer away from thick crust. They steer away from anything thick for some reason. I guess it's some of it's calorie counting, some of it's like I don't want to get full. I don't know, and it's a little intimidating because it's the crust. But once you bite into it, you'll realize that it's just so fluffy and airy, and it's just how we do it. So if you guys try it, you guys will understand.
It's
what I'm
really
talking
not
about.
how it looks, but then once you taste it, it changes
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, you can't look at it and say that it's gonna be nothing, or it's gonna feel like it's like nothing as compared to a really thick one.
Real quick, bringing it. I'm
I'll be
sorry.
swinging by later for.
Real quick, actually bringing it back to what we were speaking about before. I don't know if anybody really knows about this or how many people know, but if you actually scroll down our feed, first of all, we rarely, if at all, delete any of our posts. So if you scroll down our feed, you'll see where we started from. You'll see, like us grow and everything like that. You'll see like the KitchenAid hand mixers and videos of us the fermentation part.
What's the Instagram?
At 4brospizza _
Yes. You'll see like the small square Cambros that we use. Well, the Cambro is what we put the dough in compared to the ones that we use now, or how we just leave it in the big mixing bowl, and like the size difference. You'll see everything. The difference in the dough, the difference in how the Neapolitan style that we did looked compared to what we do now. You'll see pictures of the wood fire oven, of the inside of the oven. It's all beautiful pictures, especially when you see the wood fire in the light and everything.
You guys
like
gotta
that.
check out the trailer too. We did when we were at the apartment. We did a Four Bros trailer that Bryan actually put together. He took all the footage and then made it. It's such a sick trailer. It's the thing that sucks is it's 3 minutes, I think, 2.5 to 3 minutes long, and people these days don't want to watch things that long. They want to watch 10 to 30-second videos. But anyway, if you guys get a chance, check out that trailer. That thing is crazy. That'll tell you what we were doing pretty
It's
much
safe
in a
to
nutshell.
say that the Instagram is a time capsule of growth.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
And
Yes.
you guys obviously, when you look back on that, you see the difference between where you are now and where you were then, going
Yep.
through those 100,000-hour weeks that you were putting in, pretty much, to now where it's a little bit easier because you're more efficient with the machinery and the setup and how you're actually going your day to day. And you just said that Bryan put together the trailer on social media here. So, are you the media guy?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. It's all between all four of us, but it's mostly them for the most part now. Yeah, 'cause I'm a little bit back and forth.
When we first started, Bryan was the main social media guy. Obviously, as we grew and just had more volume, we had to use him in other places as well. But he was more like the face back in the day, because he was the one that was going out and speaking to the customers, and he was the only one that anybody ever saw. We were all in the back just hiding, just making pizza all day.
Yeah, that's right.
And over time, this has now changed. Now everyone's responsible for the social media.
Yes.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, yeah, we all pitch in. There's a lot of things that like I have to make sure gets on there for specials or for just general announcements, like our new catering menu we just launched on our website and everything. We have a lunch special menu that we wanted to launch today, actually. It's on the website already, and it's set to go at 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. The things like that, I have to post that actually after this. And there's just a lot of different things. Carlos will just, every now and then, when he has time, post a food pic that we need up there to stay engaged.
Considering we're in such a data world and we have to kind of look at everything as far as who's watching you, where people are coming from, are we increasing our business, every Friday repeatedly? How are you gauging these things? Are you looking at numbers and stats, or kind of just
gauging what exactly though?
Just growth in various areas where people
all
are
the time.
coming from.
All the time. We look at all the numbers, from likes to follows to shares. Shares is huge. We know when we posted something that is gonna hit, because we'll just see the shares start stacking up. Every number we can follow, every number that we can see the growth, we keep doing the things that make us grow, and we stop doing things that don't make us grow.
Right.
So
like that's the social media part of it. It's like then with the ultimate thing is like revenue, right? You see revenue going up every week, and the amount of volume of pizzas and sandwiches and salads and pastas or whatever, and then deliveries and pickups. So I have to make adjustments. That's kind of my job, where I have to see, okay, we need 2 guys on saute, like at all times, especially during the weekend. And then pizza, Carlos normally has it, but Bryan has. We transitioned Bryan into more of half pizza and half like expo, which is slicing and putting the pies in boxes and other things too. But he's kind of Carlos's assistant with pizza. Like he's actually learned how to make pizza now, and he can actually put a pie in the oven, which is pretty crazy because I never thought I'd see Bryan make a pizza. But he's doing really well. So like things like that, and that only happened in the last month or two because the volume was just going up and up. And Carlos, as a pizza guy, like nobody, like, all right, we understand chicken has to get prepped, sausage has to get prepped, broccoli rabe, but nobody understands the prep that a pizza guy has to do. A pizzaiolo has a lot of prep between garlic knots, between shells for the squares that we put out,
the bread for the sandwiches. We make all our bread in-house.
Bread. We make all bread in-house daily, every day. So he has to stretch that out. He has to let them proof. He has to cook them, then put them away. I mean, all these things are just, and there's more, but. And then what happens?
Keeping up with the dough that we need.
Right. So the gauging that you're talking about. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's tough because we went from doing like a certain amount of dough, and now on Fridays and Saturday nights, I'm finding myself doing 2 batches ahead of time on Wednesdays and Thursdays just to get ready for the weekend now.
Yeah.
We watch the numbers very carefully.
Our walk-in is getting too small.
Our product
it really is.
Not for nothing. Carlos. Most likely, we could have given him help. We should have given him help a while before. It's just he's too proud to say anything. He always kept to himself. You saw how hard he worked. If you actually really looked at it, you could see how hard he worked and how fast he had to move and everything like that. And he just was too proud to say anything until it got to a point where our volume was just, now is going out the window. And then we try to have meetings at the end of the night, even as tired as we are, as many hours as we are, meetings are key at the end of the night. You can't keep working and not have a meeting to see where everybody's head is at and see that we're on the same page. You can't just assume everything like that. meetings at the end of the night is very key. So when we have these meetings, we talk about everything as a whole, how the day went, how the week went, what direction we want to go in, what specials we want to do, everything, etc. And we finally saw like how overwhelmed he's been getting, and he finally said something like, I guys, I need help. Finally said something. We're like, okay, well, we're gonna get you help. So we got the youngest brother out of us.
Yeah, Bryan was doing a lot of other things.
He was a floater.
Yeah, he was a floater, and he helped out at the counter, the phones. He did deliveries. He was helping at Expo. Expo he had down packed, but it was just like, all right, so let's just take him away from that and forget about going on deliveries as much, and we're just gonna be with pizza. So the last point I wanted to make about gauging things was, honestly, we're up to 3, sometimes 4 delivery drivers on the weekends. That's how much delivery has been in the demand, and so that's what I'm slowly doing. We're slowly beefing up the staff in different ways.
We went from delivering where we were able to just take the deliveries ourselves. That's what we
when we first started.
We try to
you guys used to show up to diner all the time.
Yeah. We try our best
sometimes.
We try our best, to just keep it, we tried our best to just keep it with us, where we can interact with our customers. It's not because we want to be greedy and keep the money for ourselves. No, it has nothing to do with it. We want to go out and interact with our customers and explain what we're doing here and talk to them a little bit just to get them a little bit more comfortable, so they don't just know us as 4 bros or just pizza. They know who we actually are. That's very important to us still. But it just gets so crazy that we don't have the time, unfortunately, to do that all the time. So we got up to a point where we needed 1 delivery, then we needed 2, then we needed 3, and now we're seeing we need 3 to 4. It's getting crazy. It's a beautiful thing.
Were you guys using any of the third-party stuff for deliveries?
No.
I refused that. I just looked around and said, I don't see any tablets or signs.
No, I think
fucking love it.
Jay asked us that earlier, but
Down with Grubhub, man.
look, I'll be honest. There's times where people that I know, that I respect in this industry and just the food industry in general, tell me like, you need to get this going because it's a whole different market, and they're absolutely right. There's people that will not order anywhere else except for Grubhub, Uber Eats, or things like that. And it does. I don't know why. There's really no sense behind it when you have a place that delivers themselves.
It's convenience.
It is convenience, but we have an online ordering system. You know what I'm saying?
They have to get. The key is getting them to use yours. Once you got them on yours, then it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, and you know what?
A lot of people are like, I have the app. I'm just all my credit card information, etc. It's in there.
Yeah,
it's like,
you're right. But
that's it. The big struggle. Same thing with us. We have our native online ordering, like our own, our own website, our own thing. Mm-hmm. Once we get people to use it, they're on it.
They're on it. Right.
But the struggle is getting people to use it.
That's the struggle, and that's a serious struggle because I have a friend that actually made stickers and told. I don't know what else he did. I forgot. I think he sent an email to everybody. Anyway, any order that came in through Grubhub, Uber Eats, whatever, he had a sticker on the bag clearly saying, "Order from us. It's cheaper. It's faster. It's better." Yeah, I guess I don't know, but
that's what we did.
Yeah. So
very low key. I made a menu item on Grubhub that just said, use promo code Grubhub on our website. I'll give you 10% off. And then you start seeing orders. We started seeing orders come in on our website that say Grubhub discount code, and I'm knowing we're stealing people off the app. So we did the same thing.
But he explained. He explained his prices. Our prices are higher on these apps.
Yeah.
And
because you have to make up for the loss.
Order from us. It's better, faster, cheaper, whatever. This guy I think he did 8 months of this. He only converted 6 people. 8 months of this hard work, 6 people. All right, 6 people, or 6 customers, 6 customers. Don't get me wrong; they're very valuable, but it's just like the time and work you had to put in to get that. Obviously, it's only because he had these things already. I every now and then think about the market that we're missing, but at the same time, I'm against ripping off customers and then having to take food out of our mouths at the same time. They take 30%. 30% with a driver.
I want to interject and say you're not missing the market. It sounds like you're busy enough. You just brought your 4th bro into the action fully because you were so overloaded in here and trying to put everything out. And the guy that told you that you're missing out, you need to be on Grubhub, or you need to be on this, or whatever it is, his business might be struggling in the fact that he doesn't have something everybody loves like pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, this is such a market that, yes, pizza could be saturated, but also if you're dominating it and putting out a great pizza, you could be the dominant force in the pizza area, at least in your neighborhoods, right? So, like, if you do go on Grubhub, yeah, you're going to get a little bit more business, but is it worth it if you're building it out here? Probably not.
No, I completely agree with that. That's the reason why, even though I'll be in my head, because I have to look at all angles. I have to give it a thought. I can't just rule it out. These guys can, but I have to because I'm the one that's steering the ship. So every now and then it'll get in my head, but I'm just saying, don't worry, forget it. Just we're gonna keep moving on and moving on. So the other thing is, we do put out, I think, in our opinions, a superior product. The thing is, our pricing is a little bit higher than others, and let me explain that real quick because not everybody's gonna know this, and I've been meaning to make a video on this. I just don't have freaking time, but this is important.
Do people know pizza prices? Like,
They
I pay whatever you tell me I'm paying you.
Yeah, see, that's I love those customers, but at the same time, I want them to appreciate what they're getting for their money too. Like, I don't want to just have a blind customer that just goes in there and says, here, even though that's the way I used to do things too. I would just go in, hey, let me get a pie, 18, no problem, here. I didn't even care. But there's times where, like, I worked in pizzerias that were selling a large pie for $14.50. And I'm over here like, what? Like, if I tasted the pizza, so I'm like, I know it's good, I know it's decent, I know it's okay, like, it's not bad at all. So you could be getting more money for it. The thing is, they base it on the volume that they do. They base it on their food costs. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I'm assuming, because I never really talked to an owner of the one that I'm talking about. But I'll give you an example. We use 3 different flours in our pizza. 3 different flours. We use Caputo flour. Okay. One bag of that, our bag of flour is ranging from $32 to $41 a bag. 90% of the pizzerias around here are using Trump's, are using Pillsbury, even Sasson, and they're ranging from $16 to $18 a bag. We're doing double, and sometimes more than double per bag.
How much yield do you get from that bag?
That's about,
It's like a
what's
50-pound
the
bag,
total
right?
batch of dough? How much is it? 25,000 kilos or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
grams.
kilograms. So
Like, how
yeah,
many
one
pizzas
bag.
does that turn into?
Oh, that depends on.
on-
So we weigh out the dough differently. We use the dough for our bread. We use the dough, but Carlos can do the math right now. Honestly,
It's tough to explain. So one of the flours is the main ingredient, and then the others have a smaller percentage to the entire batch. So one bag, I'll get 2 batches of dough out of, and the other ones I'm getting like 10 to 12
about that,
batches
Carlos.
per bag. So it's hard to math it out. But then per batch, I'm getting about 20 of each doughs, and I have 3 different
Okay.
doughs. So I got 20 house doughs, 20 large doughs, 20 small doughs from one
so
batch.
roughly 60 and all evenly spread out between all 3 size doughs that we have.
Right.
But basically, I was trying to tell him to not do the details, only because a full batch of dough is 25 kilograms, and a full bag of flour, regardless of what brand or what kind it is 25 kilos. So to your answer,
okay,
is
that
25
makes sense.
kilograms
I didn't think of it
is
like that.
about 60 doughs divided between all 3 sizes that we have. But yeah, that's one example as to why our pizza is a little higher priced. The most important part of Caputo being different than others is that it doesn't contain potassium bromide. Potassium bromide is just a filler, and it's like a chemical filler that it's like, I mean, I don't want to put it this way, but it's like people cutting drugs. You know, like you put an extra something in there just to spread it out to whatever. This is the same thing that works with flour. People will take potassium bromate to fill it in with real fresh flour. Caputo doesn't have that. They have 100% flour, and everything is completely natural in there. And the Tipo one that we use,
That's the price change.
right? That's the price change. That's why it's double the price. The Tipo one that we use is mostly germ and bran in it, and that's what we add to our pizza. We don't need it. We can honestly get rid of it and just up the other ones. The Tipo one is the most expensive. Yeah, it is, because Nuvolo is a little bit cheaper, but The Tipo 1 is, we put it in there solely to add German brand to our dough. Honestly, just to make it a little healthier for the consumer. That's 100% what it is. So we put out the money just for that. Grande cheese, the top of the line. It's the top at the top of this market.
Most expensive.
The most expensive. Our tomatoes, they're not necessarily too much more expensive. So, but it is a little more expensive. And then we make our own fresh mozz in house. Everything is done by hand. We do French fries. They're hand cut in house. We don't buy frozen. We buy real potatoes, cut them, blanch them.
We don't have a freezer here.
Yeah, we don't have a freezer here. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Frozen fries are great, but we just want to be able to keep it at the same level as like pizza. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason. That's a few of the reasons why our pizza costs a little bit more.
You get fresh quality at Four Bros.
Every time we do anything, our goal is to make everything as, if possible, house made, freshly made.
Yeah.
We try to do everything ourselves, obviously if it's possible. So the quality's there.
That's why I try to tell you that we don't make our lives easier.
Yeah.
Carlos is keen to the dough science. Danny understands recipes and is quite a strategist. Bryan's been the bench player through social media and rotating the other roles of the business. And Danny, well, he's the glue holding the Four Bros brand together. Give them a follow and make sure that you're subscribed to our podcast for more great stories through the hospitality business.